Welcome to the Baton Rouge Blues Fest. Thanks for coming to the backstage at the Blues Fest, the interview series that we have done for a number of years. My name is Alex Cook. I'm an author, a musician, and I've had the privilege of doing these interviews for a number of years, but I've never had the chance to interview somebody that I have been a fan of as long as I've been a fan of the Flat Duo Jets. So to kick everything off, we're going to have a song here from Mr. Dex Romweber.
Walk through the city, the crowded old city, thousands of people, the humble, the proud. Baby, how long I keep on looking for your face in the crowd. There must be true love. Where will I find it? It's hot like diamond, or it's wrapped in a shroud. Baby, how long I keep on looking for your face in the crowd. People all around me feel so all alone, feel just like a motherless child alone. Ways from home, there must be true love. Where will I find it? It's hot like diamond, or it's wrapped in a shroud. Baby, how long I keep on looking for your face in the crowd. People all around me feel so all alone, feel just like a motherless child alone. Ways from home, walk through the city, crowded old city, thousands of people, the humble, the proud. Baby, how long I keep on looking for your face in the crowd. People all around me feel so all alone, feel just like a motherless child alone. Ways from home, there must be true love. Where will I find it? It's hot like diamond, or it's wrapped in a shroud. Baby, how long I keep on looking for your face in the crowd.
That's a beautiful tune right there. So, I think I became familiar with your music in the way a lot of people became familiar with your music, was through the documentary film Athens, Georgia, Inside Out. And I think what what got me about that is, I was an REM fan and a new wave music fan and all that, and that's what I was looking for. And then all of a sudden, these two wild-haired dudes are sitting on a front porch and making the most unhinged, beautiful, loud rockabilly music in there. And I think that awoke a lot of people. When did you guys get started?
Well, we got started in like 84 or something. I think it was my last year of high school. I believe, I don't know, I had several bands before the Duo Jets. So, man, it was 84.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, was it consciously a duo, or is that just happenstance?
No, I'm actually not even a big fan of duos.
Really?
Yeah, it was totally by accident.
Yeah.
And I love saxophone and keyboard, upright bass, electric bass. I love strings. My favorite bands, the Rolling Stones was like, to me, that's the ultimate setup, five people.
Yeah.
The Duo was a total accident. But, I heard that we used to say this, that Buddy Holly, it was a duo before it became a trio and a four-piece.
Right.
So we were big fans of Buddy Holly. So, we thought, well, if Buddy can do it, then, it
right,
must be cool.
If a hack like Buddy Holly can pull it off. But what was the early music that got you wanting to be a musician? What music was it that really
Well, I
set you
was a
off?
big fan of Kiss.
Were you?
Yeah, sure. My first record I heard was Pink Floyd,
Oh, okay.
Animals.
Right.
And I was a child of the 70s and grew up in Florida in the 1970s. So if you ever saw that movie, The Bad News Bears, remember, with Walter Matthau?
Yes.
Growing up in Florida in the 70s was a lot like that. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Kiss. Man, I was a child of all that.
What was the first song you ever learned on guitar?
Cat Scratch Fever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even a fan of Ted Nugent now.
Yeah, well, yeah, but, yeah.
But, I mean, it was a thing of history that, I discovered that music around then. And then around the early 80s, I discovered, I was really into 60s music.
Uh-huh.
So the Monkees, the Yardbirds, the Rolling Stones. And that got into Led Zeppelin and all of that. But I started digging further back into the archives of music. So 50s music came after the sojourn of all those great 60s bands, which I think are great, and in the 70s bands too. But that from 50s music, it went into 30s music.
Right.
So like Jimmy Rogers, the Singing Brakeman, and blues music. And then I got into jazz music. So Ella Fitzgerald and even Frank Sinatra, Django Reinhardt, Sarah Vaughan. I got real into Ray Charles for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, man, I started getting into classical music. So Frederick Chopin, Bach Sr., Beethoven. I just studied a lot of different types of music.
Right.
I mean, the Duo Jets were known as a rockabilly band, but, we actually did a lot of forms of music.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting that come from that background. Well, if I may, kind of step into kind of the blues arena, what were the blues artists that snap for you? Because a lot of that music that you're talking about of the 60s, the Yardbirds and so on, that they had dug into American blues that America had kind of sort of
they really did,
about.
and so did the Stones too. I liked I had a really great recording it was Lead Belly and Brownie McGee, and I guess Sonny Terry doing a song called How Long.
Yeah.
And I never knew that Lead Belly had made recordings with those two. I listened to Lead Belly a long time. A fellow named Josh White
Yes.
was one of my favorite. I was really drawn to him. Man, I listened to anything I could. Sonny Boy Williamson I thought was really good.
Sure.
I heard he was quite a rascal of a person, but I still think his music was great. So yeah, but I gotta say, man, Josh White was literally my favorite of the blues artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know any of his songs? Do you know?
Well, I had a record. Actually, I really don't.
Oh, okay.
But I had a record that he did of Chain Gang songs,
Oh, yes.
and
Yes.
man, it was the coolest record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those archive recordings, that is
Yeah.
like, because it taps into that kind of, that history of where does the music, no matter what kind of like rock and roll, no matter what you play, it's got roots in that,
Right.
at least here.
Yeah, another guy, Lonnie Johnson, I like.
Oh, yeah.
I picked up a record in New York City. Now, one of his songs, it's a cover, but I did learn it.
Yeah.
The Lonesome Road, which
Do you
was
still know it? Can
I
you still
do.
play it?
Yeah.
Well, give-
But I didn't know the chords till I saw Andy Griffith play it on the Andy Griffith show. The song I just did was recorded by Andy Griffith.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Facing the Crowd, but he went to Chapel Hill, UNC, where I grew up and growing up. But the Lonnie Johnson too, The Lonesome Road, beautiful tune, and goes, look down, that lonesome road before you travel on. Look down, and me, your maker, before Gabriel blow his horn. Days may be cloudy and so low, looking down that lonesome road. Look down that lonesome road before Gabriel blow his horn.
Oh, man. Thank you for that.
So yeah, that's an old blues standard.
Yeah.
So Lonnie Johnson cut that, and I saw Andy playing it on one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to see how many Andy Griffith songs we can work into one interview. I want to ask about, the guitar, this like beautiful Silvertone guitar in there, which I'm coveting. And also in the Athens, Georgia movie, you even talk about how the guitar you really like to play was one that somebody gave you at a guitar shop in Georgia or in someplace? I forget what.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing this model when I was 13, but this is probably my 14th model of this.
Yeah.
So, but in the Athens, Georgia movie, I'm playing one of these, a 1448 Sears Silvertone.
Wow.
And this is from like 1963.
So is that like one of your favorite guitars, the Sears Silvertone, or?
Well, back to blues music. A friend of mine saw Howlin' Wolf in some nightclub somewhere, and the guitarist, who I'm not sure who it was, told him that Silvertones are the best guitar for blues music.
Really?
And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, how come?
And, well, it's the rawness of it. But with duos, Silvertones are really good because there's a lot of low end to them.
Right.
And things like Fenders and Gibsons, there's too much high end. And with a duo, you need as much low end as you can get.
Exactly.
But I've had so many guitars and lost them, or they were stolen or fires.
Right.
That, well, I've just had a lot of them. But the Silvertone, this model, has stayed with me almost my whole career.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would you characterize yourself as a gearhead, or do you really
no, but I'd love to have more old guitars. And
Sure.
you know, and I wish I had all the really cool guitars I used to have.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not one to like seek out getting a signature model guitar. You're more.
Not really, but at the rate I'm going, any guitar will be all right. Yeah.
So do you I mean, one of the things that like just appeals to me, Silvertone guitars, they were Sears catalog guitars.
Right.
And kind of the same thing as like a lot of the vintage recordings, where the old Stellas and Harmonies and things like that.
Yeah, beautiful guitars.
That were also Sears catalog guitars. They were ones that,
Right.
you know, because a lot of times those were the instruments available. It's not that
Right.
that Robert Johnson had like this giant pick of guitars, or that there was a guitar center down the road in Clarksdale he could go to. This is what he had.
Right, and I see a lot of those old artists have Silvertones.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. I mean, the Sears catalog, you know, goes back to the 20s or 30s, I think.
Right, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
one
yeah.
of those things that it was like I guess a unilateral thing. And I don't know if I read too much into that, but I think about people playing those guitars from the Sears catalog. They were like,
Right.
they could be anybody. Anybody could get these guitars.
Right, and Leadbelly had a beautiful 12-string Stella.
Yeah.
I mean, a big old acoustic guitar.
And that's what, oh, hell, I'm drawing a blank, but from here, the older musician that'll come to me. But that's what he played, was this 12-string Stella.
Right, and the weird thing about Silvertones, and even people who make guitars say this, that they were actually good guitars.
Yeah.
That was they were cheap, but they were actually good guitars.
Now, do you hot rod them? Do you put in different
not much.
pickups?
I
Or?
mean, tuning can be a real problem with these. So it's newer tuning stock.
Yeah.
But all of this is original.
That's
Yeah,
fabulous. Do you have one of the cases that's got the
I got
amp
the case
into
and
it?
the amp.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, I mean, you know, you like the Silvertones, you like this sound. Do you find that, is it more the player or the gear? Is it like, you know?
Well, some people would say that.
Yeah.
So it's all in the fingers. It's all in the person. So, and everyone is individual. So,
Right.
you know, Jack White of the White Stripes, he played a Montgomery Ward 60s guitar.
Right. Well, and he was kind of quoted as saying that he did that on purpose because he wanted to, you know, kind of dispel the gear myth of it.
Right.
And
I didn't do it on purpose.
And inversely created another gear myth of people who want,
Yeah.
you know, Montgomery Ward's guitar or whatever. But And so that was like your first guitar that you got was a Silvertone, or was
It's
it?
not my first, but it's probably my second or third.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a Kimberly was my first guitar.
Yeah.
Kimberly.
That's cool. So the Flat Duo Jets, that you guys broke up at one point, or
Yeah.
went on hiatus, however you wanted to do it.
No, we broke up,
broke
and
up.
I'm actually playing with another member at this festival. But this will probably be the last time it will be billed under the Flat Duo Jets.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And after Flat Duo Jets, you formed the Dex Rom Weber trio duo.
Duo, yeah.
Duo. And that was with your sister.
Yeah.
And she played in Snatches of Pink. Is that the band
Yeah.
she was in?
And Let's Active.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so, did y'all play music together growing up? Was
A
that
little bit. The band before the Duo Jets was called Crash Landon and the Kamikazes.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first drummer of that.
Oh, okay.
But she went on to play with Mitch of Let's Active. But Crash Landon and the Kamikazes, our music was like Fortune Teller by the Rolling Stones.
Uh-huh.
I'm a Believer by the Monkees. It was more 60s, music.
Right.
But she played drums behind us then when I was like 13 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what led you to want to kind of rejuvenate Flat Duo Jets?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And it hasn't been.
Yeah.
It's just, I could be really frankly honest about this. I had no idea this was booked as the Flat Duo
Oh, wow,
Jets.
okay.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be negative, but I would have preferred it under just Dex Romweber or the Dex Romweber Duo.
Yeah.
The Duo Jets ended 20 years ago.
Right.
And the band was really Chris Crow Smith and myself.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to go back.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to go back or call my performing bands the Flat Duo Jets.
Right.
Through a series of mishaps and miscommunications, it has been billed as the Flat Duo.
Right.
Not with the person here.
Yeah.
With my management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how important is a name for a band? Like, is there, because bands can be fluid units. Like, there are some bands that, year to year never have it. Like, there's no static lineup of Guided by Voices or things like that.
Right.
But there's, is it, do you think having a name for a band means it's a bracket of time, or is it?
I probably could have gone on using that name.
Yeah.
But I thought the band had been together too long anyway.
Right.
So I was really into changing the name. And I did a tour last summer, and it was billed as the Flat Duo Jets. And Crow, the old drummer of the original Duo Jets, was tremendously upset that name was used.
Yeah.
I actually came up with the name, but man, I didn't want to use it again.
Yeah.
I probably could have, but it's a totally different band now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what is it that you're doing now that's different from the?
Well, the
besides
music,
different personnel, but
yeah, the music itself isn't that different. The songs, it's a different song setup. But, it's just not the same band.
yeah.
Yeah.
How's your songwriting changed over the years? Is it, do you feel like because you have such an eclectic, love of music to pull from.
Right.
Has that kind of colored your music over the years
Well, I guess with my sister, I was writing different types of songs, but I haven't really been writing that much lately. But I can just hear all sorts of influences and whatever I come up with.
Yeah.
So I can hear The Who
Sure.
in it. I can hear Nick Cave in it.
Right.
And other artists, I don't even know their names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, could we hear one of like your newer songs, like something that's
Yeah. So. A long battle coming, oh yes. A long battle coming. Well, something like that.
yeah.
The song goes on for like 4 minutes. I don't even want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I got it. And that you now you guys are going to be playing tonight at the Jolie Pearl. And do we have a time for that? I know this is because of the weather. Some things are in flux.
I heard it's 6.
And it's 6 o'clock at the Jolie Pearl. Does anybody in the audience have any questions? I mean, I think there's some people who, have kind of followed your work over the years. And does anybody have any questions? Do you have one? Okay. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
It was how did you guys end up in the movie Athens, Georgia, Inside Out when you were actually from Chapel Hill?
Right. Okay, there was this other band in the movie called Pylon. You probably heard of them.
Yeah.
And they made a thing about that. They were doing an interview and they were upset that we were in the movie. I think they were more upset that we got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
The truth is that we were in Chapel Hill, and we were playing a series of gigs in Athens and getting a large audience response, and we decided to move there. So we were there. Well, Crow, the old drummer, was there 2 years, and I was there a solid year. So we were docked there in the town during the filming of the movie.
Right.
And that's how we got in it.
And then Scott Litt,
Yeah.
who was the producer with REM and other
Right.
bands in that area, he took a particular interest in you guys.
Well, I hadn't met Scott till 98, and that movie was made in 86 or something.
Oh, okay.
I didn't meet Scott then.
Oh, okay.
But the REM guys always run into him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
But yeah, like everything of that movie, it was an accident.
sure.
And they liked our live performances, and because we were living there, that's how we ended up in it. Yeah.
Right on. Well, does anybody, yes.
Well, I'm not really familiar. I mean, I'd like to hear if I do a Jet song. I mean,
Well, I tell you, man, I don't rehearse them anymore. It wouldn't be that easy to do. I'm trying to think what would be somewhat easy, I guess. That's not easy. And it's been 30 years since I played it. Let's see, what would be a duo Jet song? Whoa, ho, lucky I, ho, ho, lucky I, ho, well I, ho, lucky I, ho. Ah-ho, lucky ah-ho. Yeah, that's one.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, not at all.
Oh, right on. Okay, good. All right. Good. Well, let's give it up for Mr. Dex Romweber. Y'all be sure to catch him at the Jolie Pearl, which is just right up here on North Street at 6 o'clock. They will be playing along with a number of other bands from the festival that unfortunately have been rained out. I would be remiss to not recommend that you see my band, the Rakers, at 5:30 downstairs in this building at the busker stage in the Rotunda. And please stick around today for the festival. And we've got a number of interviews coming up, number of performers throughout the building, and a number of things going on today. So thank you very much for coming out.